Good afternoon, students. In today's session, we are going to cover another important topic, aims of educational sociology. Educational sociology is a field or discipline that explores the relationship between education and society, how they are connected, how they are related to each other, how do they influence each other, and how do they exert influence on social processes, social structure. At the same time, it examines how social institutions and forces affect educational processes and outcomes. Education, in turn, impacts society because education can bring about several revolutions, several changes. With educated mind, educated youth, we can bring social changes, we can change the society, and we can do several things which can bring a revolutionary change in our society. So education is very important to bring about any kind of change in our social structure, social class, and society. In the same way, education is also influenced by society in which we live in. So both are interconnected and interdependent on each other. So let's start with our first topic, first point, which is social context of education. Social context. What are the social contexts in which education is being imparted, things are being taught, and students are being trained? How societal factors influence education system and practices? It is important social structures like class, race, gender, ethnicity exert influence on education. So it is important to analyze the impact of these social structures on education. Social structures like class, race, gender, ethnicity have profound and multifaceted impact on education, or we can say profound impact, immense. These social dimensions influence educational experiences, opportunities, outcomes in multiple ways. So let's talk about social class. What role does it play in determining aims of education? Access to resources. Social class significantly impacts access to educational resources. To which social class you belong to? Social class of which you are a member. Students from higher socioeconomic backgrounds have better access to education. Expensive education, private tutoring, extracurricular things. So they are able to afford. Students who are coming from well settled families, well off families, they are able to afford such education. In contrast, students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds can face underfunded schools, government schools sometimes, fewer resources, and we can say limited resources and support as well. Educational attainment. Students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds are more likely to face barriers to achieving higher educational attainment. This is true, and you might have observed such things in some cases around you. These barriers can include lower academic achievement. If you don't have resources, sometimes your performance will suffer, your achievement will suffer, and you will not have access to proper resources, owing to which students' performance achievements will suffer. Higher dropout rates, and limited access to higher education opportunities. Parental involvement. Social class also influences level of parental involvement in education. Parents from higher socioeconomic classes are more likely to engage in children's education, including helping them with their homework, attending school events, and they can fulfill all children's needs. On the other hand, parents from lower socioeconomic backgrounds may have less time because they have to earn something, they have to go out, maybe sometime they are laborers, workers, vendors, so they have to earn on daily basis. So they can't afford to give time to their student, and they are not educated as well. So there are several limitations with them. Parents from lower socioeconomic backgrounds may have less time or fewer resources to engage in their children's education due to economic pressure or education level of education. Race and ethnicity. Educational disparities. Race and ethnicity can impact educational experiences and outcomes due to systematic inequalities and biases. For instance, students from minority, racial, or ethnic backgrounds may face disparities in school funding, biased curricula, and discriminatory practices in school or classroom. School discipline. Sometimes minority students or students from particular community, particular background, or particular group, they are subjected to harsher disciplinary measures because they are coming from particular group, particular community. So they are subjected to harsher disciplinary measures compared to their classmates. It often contributes to higher rates of exclusionary discipline, suspensions, and expulsion, which negatively impacts educational progress. Gender, academic performance. Gender can influence academic performance and interest. For example, girls often outperform boys in language and boys in maths and science. These differences are influenced by socialization and upbringing, process of socialization, cultural expectations, and experiences rather than inherent abilities. It is not because they have inherited mathematical abilities and problem solving abilities. It is not like that. It is because of socialization, process of socialization, and cultural expectations. So, it is important. Stereotypes and expectations. Gender stereotypes can affect educational choices, career aspirations. For example, girls may feel stressed away from science, technology due to stereotypes about gender bias, gender roles. On the other hand, boys face discouragement from pursuing interest in fields like teaching, nursing, and fashion, other professions. There are several professions in which boys are discouraged to pursue educational achievement. Gender disparities in educational attainment vary by region and culture. Girls outperform boys academically, while in others, boys may lag behind, like in stitching, cooking, home science, etc. So it makes difference. These differences can be influenced by societal norms, educational policies, and the availability of resources. Next, cultural influences. How culture exert influence on educational process or educational process, our education system influence cultural practices, cultural values. Like we sometimes we say, values have changed, culture has changed. Though it is not easy, it takes times, it takes several years, but it happens. It happens. And we notice changes which occurs at a very slow rate. So it's important to understand how cultural norms, values, and traditions shape educational experiences and expectations. Economic factors, examining the influence of economic conditions and policies on access to education and educational outcomes is equally important. These are social structures which influence education, educational processes, educational resources. So they are important to study and it helps to determine aims of educational sociology. Role of education in socialization. How schools transmit societal norms, values, and beliefs through students. Because school plays a very important role in molding a student and shaping up an individual. It plays a very significant role in shaping up human his or her behavior, in determining how or what he becomes later in life. School transmits societal norms, values, and beliefs to students. It helps to shape up their values, transfer values. So it is important to transmit in a proper way.